Good afternoon and welcome. You're listening live to Heart, a program which aims to help you understand and to become your loving self. I'm Dr. Rashidia. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, certified sexologist in private practice located in beautiful Encino, California. I usually offer you this program along with my colleague and my business partner, Dr. Robert Jaffe, who today he's not going to be joining us and he's doing what a good citizen does, and that is self-quarantine. So more power to him, and I appreciate the fact that he chose to do that. And then he doesn't know if actually he has been exposed to corona, but as a safety measure, and as a way that he wants to be safe and everybody else around him to be safe, he has decided to do that, and I truly appreciate that, and I do wish him well, and I know he's doing great, actually no symptoms, so that's wonderful. And I pray that the rest of it goes as well, the same way, and he's going to be joining us soon. So, our phone number here live is 951-922-3532. And I would like to invite us to please call us, share your opinion, share your questions, your comments, because without that, we're not going to grow. This program is not going to grow. And we very much would like to offer you everything that you need to hear. So the more we know about what's going on with your questions and your comments and everything, the better we can offer you what you want to listen to. So Heart-to-Heart program, it's a program here at KMET 1490 AM, new ABC News Radio. You can also visit us at our YouTube, heart-2-heart.online/YouTube. And please offer this program, introduce it to those friends of yours that you believe, or anyone else that you believe can benefit from this program. Thank you. So as you know, today's program is about sexology, sexual healthcare. And each week during this time, I introduce a topic about human sexuality and about sexual healthcare, which last week we started to talk about the 12 steps to having better sex. I mean, everything else has a 12 steps to it, right? As we talked about, but I'm just going to give you an orientation about what we talked about last week, so that for those of you who are just joining us, have a, can be on the same page as we move forward with our program. We see that, for any form of addictions, there is a 12-step class. Why is that? Because those 12 steps help us to stay on top of everything, to stay with our sobriety and to have a better quality of life ultimately. Therefore, I thought of it, when I came across these points, I said, why not a 12 steps per program for to have a better sex? And then we started talking about, why a good sex life is healthy. And because sex is, isn't just fun, and it's good for us, and it's good for our mood, it's good for our, it's for our heart. It reduces stress and depression. It improves self-esteem, and also it helps with better sleep. Just a few things to say the least, right? And then and also the closeness that brings two people in an intimate way, and then how two people are going to learn about each other and about themselves during this relationship is really significant. So ultimately, sex is a core part of a human being life, and dismissing that is only reduces our well-being and quality of life. And therefore, knowing how to improve the quality of sex is to our advantage. And when we're talking about sex, we're not just looking at intercourse, any intimate relationship, holding hands, just kissing, talking, being romantic together. These are all part of sex. People just, assume that sex means intercourse, but that's an aspect of, just a part of a sexual relationship. So last week we talked about, the first step as being communication. And we know that couples, who talk to each other about their wants and desires, basically they have a better sex and a healthier relationship. And that's according to a number of research globally, not just here in the United States. Being able to tell your partner what you like or you don't like, sharing the most intimate fantasies and desires. These are all important so that not only you know yourself next to your partner in a sexual way, but also your partner learns about you, and also you're giving permission to your partner and showing your partner that it is safe for him or her to come forward and do the same thing, and to basically open up about what they want, about what they desire, about what's their fantasy, and basically what makes them happy, what makes them unhappy. And then the do's and don'ts, of course, is a part of that. And some partners, I actually have seen that they have a journal, that the more they find about themselves, the more they want to put that in practice. What makes them feel good, what makes them feel unhappy, they learn about their bodies, they learn about, the level of comfort that they have. So these are all important. And then if you don't talk about those aspects, we're not going to be able to have fully connection, the connection that we actually want. So looking at my own, research projects, I have divided, the communication level into two parts, right? One is the intrapsychic part, which is about myself, who am I, when it comes to that aspect of life. And then the other one is interpersonal, who I know I am, it is shared with another person. And therefore, how we are able to actually, form a relationship in a sexual way. So to understand myself, which I know I can't really say enough about it, because if we don't know ourselves, we won't be able to understand what we want. We won't be able to understand what's working for us, what is not working for us. So, and this is not just about sexuality, it's not just about this aspect of life, but in general, in every part of life, when we look at it, if we don't know ourselves, we won't be able to represent who we are, and we won't be able to talk about, what's working for us, basically, in general. Believe it or not, there are people that, as a result of many factors in life, such as growing up, they don't know what is self-respect and self-empathy. They don't know how to be non-judgmental to themselves, and finding the beauty within ourselves. Those are so important. And if we don't, learn these things about ourselves, we are missing out of quality of life. And it's so crucial that we can find beauty in ourselves. And then let's see how we find exactly what is beauty in life. How do we find about that? So I'm looking at some literature here that let's see how our childhood has anything to do with this, right? So so if a child lives with encouragement, right, they learn to be confident. If a child lives with tolerance, they learn to be patient. If if a child is living with praise, they learn to be appreciative. If a child lives with acceptance, they learn to be love and to love also another person. If a child lives with approval, they learn to like themselves. If a child lives with recognitions, they learn that it is good to have a goal. If a child lives with sharing, they learn about generosity. And if a child lives with, honesty and fairness, they learn what is the truth and, how to stay with the truth. If a child lives with security, then they learn to have faith in themselves and also to have faith in others. If a child lives with with friends and friendly environment, right, they learn that the world is a nice place in which to live. And if a child lives with serenity, then the child lives with peace of mind. So these are part of how we know, some of part of know that how we can, find beauty within on us. If we have those environment, safe environment, beautiful environment, that we can live in it, right, and we grow up with those qualities, then we are able to find beauty within us. We are able to present ourselves without having fear, without having any shame, without having any guilt, right? So I guess the question that I'm going to ask you, and it's something that you can think about, is, uh, what did you live as a child with? How was your growing up? How much did you, as a result, learn to be non-judgmental to yourself? And how did you find beauty within yourself? How did you learn to be authentic, to be honest with yourself? How did you learn to be curious about yourself and learn about yourself more and be open to do that? And how much do you take accountability for yourself? And so finding beauty within yourself is also, brings us the sweetness in you, right? How sweet do you think you are as a person, right? And then, how much can you be a giving person, and how much are you able to receive as a result? And ultimately, I would like to ask, ask yourself how assertive you are, right? So assertive means asking for what you want without feeling bad about it in this context, right? And it may have other meanings, similar meanings within different areas. So understanding yourself within, a relationship is fundamental, is crucial, is essential. I can't say enough about the importance of it. And the more you're able to understand yourself, the more you are free to learn about yourself, the more you trust that, you know some areas about yourself and some areas are, unknown, the more you're going to be open to receive, the more you're going to be open to, to be happy, the more you're going to be open that, you want to be your own very best self, your own authentic true self. So I just got the notice that we're having our commercial break coming up, and then therefore I look forward to continue with this discussion in a short few minutes. Please be with us. Every Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. Please join us. Thank you. Welcome back to our commercial. This is Heart-to-Heart program at KMET 1490 AM, BBC News Radio. For those of you just tuning in, our discussion for this segment is about 12 steps that lead you to have a better quality sex life, and the aspects of each step and how they are going to play their role in this context of life. For those of you, who are listening to this program, I'd like to encourage you to call and ask questions. The phone number here at the station is 951-922-3532. And then you may also, watch this in an archive of, go to SoundCloud KMET 1490 page. And then by choosing, by going to playlist and then click on Heart to Heart, and you have access to our prior program. Also, I would like to, invite you to please introduce this program to those that you believe they can benefit from, and your referral is much appreciated. You may also contact us on our private email or our private line, which are listed in our homepage at KMET. And you can also watch us on our YouTube, heart-2-heart.online/YouTube. And there is a free gift there for your download, which is called, it's about ego system and what ego does to us. And soon there will be more material for you to download, of course. So before commercial, we were talking about communication, and then I talked about, how myself, my intrapsychic, and knowing about myself, be open to learning about myself is a crucial aspect of human sexuality and good quality sex life. Next to that is, how that understanding and communication happens between myself and the other person, which is summarized as interpersonal aspect of our relationship. Some of the terms are similar, respect and empathy of each other, be non-judgmental towards each other, finding beauty not this time within each other, right? So the same way we find beauty within ourselves, we want our partner also to be able to achieve that goal. And having an understanding from ourselves can also help the other person, help our partner, make them feel safe to do that. And also how we can be, authentic and honest about, ourselves and about each other. So there are other factors now that they're going to play a role, and that's, being receptive of what each others are going to bring to the table. And then if there is a difficult part in it, of course, we can always negotiate, we can always talk until we come to a common ground, to some agreement that what is working for us and what is not working for us. But be receptive of each other instead of challenging it and rejecting each other. And of course, setting boundaries is crucial, right? Boundaries in the form of, the do's and don'ts and what works, what doesn't work. And then, so things of that magnitude. And of course, accountability and curiosity, sweetness, and open to learning is part of that as well, which we describe what they are. The one thing that, when it comes to interpersonal part of our sex life is pillow talks, how to be open to have pillow talks. And pillow talks are very simple to do. You don't need anything for training. Pretty much be yourself. And, just talk about that. And there are some, books and materials online if you want to download and educate yourself, more so. However, I would say the more you're authentic true self, the more you are able to have a pleasurable, joyful, relaxing pillow talk, right? And then acceptance and, having lack of, expectations. So expectation is really crucial. And we all have expectations. However, we want to know how much these expectations are valid. And then we can expect things from each other. However, is our partner able to, give us those expectations? And so understanding of each other is really significant. And then sometimes these expectations is because of our own unresolved issues, such as traumas that we faced in the past, small t traumas, large t traumas. Small t traumas, they are pervasive in life. Large t traumas are sudden impact of something dramatic. So if those issues are not resolved, if we haven't been able to work through them, then our expectations and emotions that they are related to that, they are still unprocessed and they are hidden within us. And they come out in the form of expectations, and we project that on our partners unknowingly. This is all unconscious. And therefore, when our partner is not able to even grasp, sometimes understand, make sense out of our expectations, they are sort of, paralyzed about how to be able to help us with those expectations and how to provide us with answers. And then when they are not able to do that, we kind of become upset because we rely on these people, on our partners for happiness, and then that's a codependency. So we want to know basically, how have an examination of our expectations beforehand, and work through them to make sure that what we expect from each other is solid. It's something that's precisely related to our relationship, and it is not just our own need, individual needs, and due to the unprocessed old emotions. So that's really significant. And then we also need to have the ability to accept each other as who we are and not to try to change each other, right? I have heard some comments from couples that they said, oh, before marriage he had these issues or she had these issues, and I let it go because I knew that after we get married I will be able to change him or to change her. Well, for those of you who are listening and you believe in that philosophy as well, I don't have a good news, because we are not able to change anybody. And unless the individual himself or herself gets to the point that certain aspects of life, perceptions, beliefs, value system, attitudes, and feelings are not working for them. And it is only within that context that the person is able to go and work through them. And sometimes it's not happening by themselves, so they need to have professional help to find and to understand why they have the expectations, and then work through them and see how they can make them a valid expectations. That it's not about themselves though anymore, but it is about the relationship. And once we get to that point, that's a home run, to have expectation about the relationship rather than to try to use our partners to satisfy our own individual, expectations. So these are crucial points about, interpersonal skills. The next part is about sharing and exchange of ideas, and we all have ideas. The ideas may make sense to us, but it may not make sense to our partner. And that's okay, right? As long as we are able to listen to each other, and then through that listening, we can help each other to understand, what makes sense and what doesn't, and then what we want to do about what we hear and what we, experience. So then we are at a safe place. And the next one is we want to make sure that we have and we maintain a same the level of power or hierarchy. In a relationship, when there is not a balanced power, when there is a hierarchy situation going on, we're going to face problems sooner than later. Usually within society, it has been, part of norm of the culture that men have a higher hierarchy level than women. Well, we know that has changed for the most part, and we are thankful for that. And then, but still, we see that hierarchy actually, shows itself in different setting, right? So some of that setting is, in the work relationship. Some of that it is within, depending on the positions that we are in the society together. If we probably may have, in some aspect, from professional setting, a female or a male partner may have a higher, position, and then some of the partners, one of them brings more money home than the other one. Now, having that doesn't permit for the couple to maintain that differences in hierarchy, professional hierarchy. That cannot be part of, partnership, an intimate partnership hierarchy. I have had clients that because one is a physician and the female partner, she has a different business. So they are both working professionals. However, the male partner who's a physician makes about double the amount of money than the female partner who has, her own nail salon practice. So the physician decided that he has every right to feel more powerful, to be more controlling, to be, questioning, actions and choices and decisions. And so this is something to really watch out for, right? And then in talking with these physicians, what gave him the, the notion, the idea, the perception that he can be that way. And he said because he's a smarter, and anybody who's not a physician cannot be as smart as he is. Well, that's not the case, right? Academic achievement doesn't mean that one person is smarter than the other one. Life situations, circumstances, everything can impact a person's choice of career. And so that had to be worked through. And I'm glad to say that today, they both have a good quality, life together, and that personal hierarchy doesn't exist, but they are, at the same level, and they are happy to be together. And their work situation is a different story. So they managed to distinguish between the two, separate the two, and then start a happy life together. The other part is, seeing the good in each other, which sort of relates, to what I just described, right? If there is no hierarchy, we are able to meet each other eye to eye at the same level. And then it is through that, that we get to know the person, who they are. See, our professional job, what we do doesn't define us, doesn't define who we are. Those are the skills that we have. Those are the academic achievements that we have, made. And that's great. We all want to be that, but doesn't define who we are as a person. And that's the person part of us that goes into the romantic relationship, not our, academic diploma or how much money we have. So we want to be careful about how to set those boundaries so that we are able to communicate at the same level, at the personhood level. And so that's really, crucial. And then this is how we welcome each other into our lives, right? If, I want to think that, my partner is a physician and I have only a bachelor degree, and he makes more money and I make, average money. And if I don't feel good about that, then I need to examine this to see how I'm feeling that way about myself, and then what, brings that into our relationship, right? So welcoming each other as who we are. And I have a thing to say. I said, can you welcome yourself into my life, you as you, me as me, with no degree attached, with no finance attached, with no expectation attached. You as you, me and me, can you do that, right? And if you can do that, that's another home run. That's where you become successful, right? And then when we welcome each other, that's when we can be helpful to each other. That's when we can open the door to our unknown desires, unknown feelings, unknown who, we are underneath all that, layers of do's and don'ts that we put on ourselves, and we cover ourselves and we hide actually within all that, right? So it's really essential to be able to help each other to get to know ourselves. And we get to know ourselves only within a relationship that we have. When we are living by ourselves, we have no problem, right? We can do things anytime. We can go and come home and do whatever we want. But that's not really, after a while, we know that gets boring. We all want that connection. We all want that intimacy, right? So helping each other to understand ourselves is really important. And then within that, we can give and receive, what is essential. So that's basically some of the important points of communication, and then within that we see that everything else pretty much falls under that, right? And sex being a biopsychosocial phenomena in life, we see that we need that emotional and physical safety with each other. We need that openness, trust. We need to have consent, right? And of course, attraction and spark and chemistry are without, there, we don't need to negotiate any of that. And then as a result of that, we have the excitement, passion, comfort, self-expression, and giving what is needed and receiving what is needed, and be satisfied, and then have that sexual union and fulfillment, that we all, desire for each other, and ultimately get to the love that we want to get, and the love that is compassionate, it is romantic, it is caring, we are available for each other, we have lots of laughters, we have fairness and faith and emotional intimacy and security and integrity. We honor each other, we become playful, we are kind and mindful and aware and excited and comfortable with each other. These are some aspects of love, which the list goes on and on and on and on. And why don't we continue with this after our commercial break? I look forward to having you back here with me in a short few minutes. Thank you. Welcome back. Commercial break. Dr. Mitra here at Heart-to-Heart program at KMET 1490 AM, ABC News Radio. Be talking about, the 12 steps of having a better sexual life, and our phone number live here is 951-922-3532. And we would like to, invite you to please call us so that we can offer you the responses that you want about, about what you want to listen to, right? So I was talking about the love aspect of communication. There is so much to say about love, and how we can promote that, and, how to stay with our trust, commitments, promises, holding hands, feeling it gracefully, exchanging love messages, to experience the warmth, to be so inclusive, to be affectionate, to be positive, to be kind of uplifting with each other, heartfelt, nurturing, protective, have to bring out the goodness in us, and kind of be protective of each other, kind of feel pure, kind of be giving, generous and holistic, to be able to join to each other and to feel gratitude, to not be selfish, and to be willingness, to have the willingness to change what we need to change about ourselves, to have that in-depth friendship, love, communication, partnership, intimate relationship, good sex doesn't happen without friendship. That's given, right? And some people talk about, oh, you're my best friend, or you're my friend, or you're my good friend, you're my valuable friend. So we give friendship so many differentiation once we add something at the beginning of it, but ultimately friendship is the key word, right? And it doesn't matter really what kind of a where do we want to fit that friendship in our life. Friendship is friendship, whether it's a best friend or anything else. So again, as part of communication, self-love as part of knowing yourself is very essential, right? loving our authentic true self. And that's what this whole program is all about, right? Be open to new ideas, be emotionally available, be empathic, and empathetic, be honest, and not be afraid of hearing the truth about yourself, feeling confident and being who you are without fear, right? Be trusting and believing in the goods of other people, to believe in the goodness of your partner, and not attempt so much, or play too hard to change the person. I mean, if I want to give a penny to every time I have heard, well, I thought I can change the person, I probably would be a millionaire by now, right? Which I'm not, but that's okay. And I'm grateful for whatever I have. I'm grateful for being here and talking to you today. I'm grateful that I'm safe, and many things I'm grateful in life for. And the one thing that I'm grateful about, that I don't try to change anybody. The only person that I'm in charge of changing is myself, right? So once I know what I'm doing that's hurtful and I'm not getting from point A to point B, I look at myself to see what is it that is that I need to understand, what is it that I need to be aware of, and therefore take accountability for it and make change accordingly, right? So again, as part of authentic true self and self-love, how as a sexual being I'm able to experience the pleasure of of me myself as a female or as a male, so or whatever sexual orientation that I have. It's really essential to value that, to appreciate that, and not to be shameful about it if society puts label on different sexual orientation in a different ways, in a demeaning ways. We are who we are. Our sexual orientation is a part of that, right? So if one is not heterosexual but is bisexual, or it is any form of sexual orientation that a person believes that they have, that needs to be admired, that needs to be welcomed, that needs to be understood and respected, right? And then as part of love, self-love, wanting to have the best for ourselves, right? And then, knowing that we matter and we are entitled to be treated in a loving way. And instead of being critical to ourselves, it's best to understand ourselves and then go for that. So that was in short about communication. So the next step, I would say, try something different when it comes to your sexual life, right? So we always say try to spice up your sex life by stretching your boundaries as a couple, right? Play around, don't forget foreplay. Foreplay is a significant aspect of a happy sexual life. So let me give you some dimensions as to what I'm talking about. So men in general, when they want to have sex, they are ready when they come forward and ask for sex. And for a man, from the time that they get involved in sexual activity until they get to orgasm, it probably takes them, maybe, if I want to stretch it well, it will be between 5 to 10 minutes max, right? So, but for a female, it takes, from the beginning to orgasm, it takes about 20 minutes. So when a man comes forward and asks for a female partner, let's have sex, a female is missing that 10 minutes initial part, right? And then when a female is not ready really to participate, she receives many, many negative comments, right? That, she's never in a mood, or she's like a cold fish, or many other labels, which I don't remember right now, but they are all negative. So have that 10 minutes, what can be done about that 10 minutes? And that's where foreplay comes in. I cannot really say how much that 10 minutes of foreplay is essential. And of course, when I'm saying 10 minutes, for some women is 5 minutes, for some women is 10 minutes, for some women can be even 15 minutes to get to the point where men are when they want to have sex. So that gap needs to be understood, needs to be valued, needs to be, cherished, and needs to be attended to if both partner want to have experience a very pleasurable sexual experience. uh, Women come in and they say that my husband or my boyfriend or my partner, they come to me at the onset of they just want to have sex, they're just really ready for intercourse, and I'm so clueless and I don't know, I'm not ready. And when I tell them, well, I need to get ready, they just don't get it. And believe me, that expression is completely true, right? So it's important to know foreplay. Now, foreplay uh, is not something that needs to be in a specific way. Holding hands, kissing, touching, exchange of kind words, loving words, romantic words. Those are all things that can be done. Preparing the environment, setting up the environment, privacy, it's really significant. And we know during COVID time, much of that privacy is kind of gone. And then, couples are really having a difficult time to go and have a very pleasurable foreplay time. So if that's your situation, then make some changes somehow so you can have private time with your partner in order to have ample time for foreplay. Sometimes it's not a bad idea, to give kids to a family member for a day or for a half a day or whatever that is safe for them, and then try to have a day to yourself and enjoy each other, because that foreplay actually is part of sex. So it's not just foreplay, it is part of sex. And intercourse is a part of sex, is not the whole sex. So we want to make sure that we have an understanding of that. And that way, what foreplay is and how that can happen by touching each other in new ways, trying out different sex position, to see which one actually feels better. And many women also and men complain that their sex life is all routine. Well, okay, well, if that's the case, uh, you need to look at to see what's the roadblock for yourself to learn about new situations and how to implement them in your sex life. Many people actually, they believe that porn is a good example for them. However, couples usually, and for the most part, and actually I should say, they are not the actor and actress in a porn movie. So you cannot have the same expectations from your spouse performing that way. And also, that's not real. It's a movie, it's made up. Sometimes for a porn movie, which lasts about maybe 15 minutes or so, it takes about 6 months to put it together. It's all, Photoshop. It is all, it's been designed to provoke, sexual desire. So, and then those people, they don't have intercourse for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, because we know by design, we know from physiological perspective, if somebody have that kind of an intercourse, they're going to have a heart attack sooner or later. So those are not real, and therefore porn movies cannot be a good example of how to spice up, your sex life. But understanding about what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and introducing that's the key part about, our how to spice it up. And also, dressing up is very important, and dressing romantically, setting up the environment romantically, candlelight, uh, and having different outfits for example different nights of week, or having different spices fragrant for different nights of week, or anytime the daytime, or anytime that people are having sex. Different music, colors, different shades, different flowers, different perfume. These are different sheets, these are all important aspects of how we can spice up, sex life. And sex doesn't always have to happen in the bedroom. Of course, during COVID time and the house has been crowded with people, I understand that. But even within this COVID situation, we hear some creative situation that people come up with, which are really out of this world. And I'm really impressed with some of the stories I'm hearing. And I'm happy that some of our couples are able to understand the importance of spicing up their sex life. And they are doing what they're doing with simple changes, changing pillows, changing, the towels, or bathroom setup, or anything, it's anything that you can bring to it differently is spicing up, your sex life. And then sometimes it doesn't hurt to watch a porn movie, a dirty movie, as long as not having the expectation of same thing, to be repeated between the two of you. Because like I said, you're not those actor and actresses, and you don't took them to basically to get to the point that they have been. So we have more to talk about these steps, and I'm looking forward to continue this conversation with you next week at Thursday at 3 o'clock here at KMET. And I would like to invite you to join me tomorrow for another episode of Codependency, Trauma, and Addiction. And Dr. Robert Jaffe is going to join us as soon as he's out of self-quarantine. So until tomorrow and next Thursday, don't forget, all you need is love. Be safe, be well.
This is 1490 AM KMET, Banning, Beaumont, Redlands, and Palm Springs. News, talk, sports.
Check us out online at KMET1490am.com.
KMET, Banning, Beaumont, Redlands, and Palm Springs.
From ABC News, I'm Daria Albinger. At this hour, President-elect Biden will outline a nearly $2 trillion plan to rescue America from a year